Chapter 2787. Smear campaign Nephis and Asterion had exchanged blows, but these first attacks were merely meant to probe the opponent's defenses. Now that they had tested the waters, the real clash was about to begin. Dog, the star of ruin. Asterion's word hung in the air, causing some of the gathered champions to glance furtively at Nephis. She did not show any particular reaction, though, simply continuing to look at Asterion evenly. In the silence, one of the guests, a saint of the fourth generation, spoke in an indignant tone. "You are going too far, Lord Asterion. Lady Nephis has never been anything but a stellar example of what awakened are meant to be." A few others grumbled in solidarity. "You have a peculiar definition of tyranny, my lord, possessing strength and only possessing strength, but not at all the same thing. Our lady might be younger than some, but her accomplishments speak for themselves." Asterion lingered for a moment, then turned to look at the last person to speak. "Oh, and what are her accomplishments, exactly? Tell me, please. I am quite an accomplished man myself, after all. I was among the first awakened to ever become saints. I was among those who first became supreme, as well, while the Star of Ruin did ... what? Conquered the second nightmare as a sleeper, attained supremacy, while escaping the dangers of the nightmare spell. Both are impressive feats, no doubt. But why does it sound like she simply did something that someone else had already done, just in a flashier manner?" The person scoffed. "Ridiculous ... Another rose from their seat. "What are you even talking about? From the very start, Lady Nephis has been a beacon of hope for humans. Even as a sleeper on the Forgotten Shore, she was already a champion and a savior. Nephis did not even need to say anything, because her silence spoke louder than words. The people of her domain were burning with an ardent desire to defend her honor. Anyway, but Sunny suddenly felt an ominous premonition. Something is not quite right." In the spacious hall, Asterion smiled faintly. Then he tilted his head a little. "The Forgotten Shore. Ah, I've heard all about her accomplishments there." He glanced at Nephis, his expression turning concerned. "From what I hear, more than 1,000 sleepers resided on the Forgotten Shore when she arrived. But by the time she was done with them, barely 100 had survived the slaughter." Asterion turned suddenly to Kai. "Tell me, Saint Nightingale, am I lying?" Not receiving an answer, he sighed. "A savior? Well, possibly. Then again, possibly she simply used the corpses of those poor children to pave a path to salvation for herself. It was just that she failed to walk it. In the end, who's to say?" Asterion shook his head. But it doesn't really matter if she callously indoctrinated them into becoming sacrificial lambs, does it? What matters is the result of her radiant leadership. A mere 100. A survival rate of less than 10%. It's difficult to call that a resounding success, I'd say." Sunny pursed his lips. Asterion was painting a bleak picture, but he wasn't really lying. In fact, he was mostly telling the truth. Suddenly, a disturbing suspicion took root in Sunny's mind. Asterion, meanwhile, squinted a little. "If this is your definition of a savior, then how many people do you expect to survive the dire future under her banner?" "Exactly. Humanity is 3 billion souls strong at the moment, so ... 300 million at best. Not even that, while billions more will be condemned to die." He chuckled suddenly. "Come to think about it, these figures are quite in line with what Vale and Song had in mind. They wanted to shelter a couple of 100 million people here in the Dream Realm while leaving the rest of humanity to die. Makes one wonder what the point of overthrowing them even was." Nephis studied him calmly. The firekeepers stationed in the hall, however, seemed to be boiling with rage. Finally, she exhaled slowly and spoke, "Comparing me to Anvil and Ki Song, and yourself, for that matter, is quite misguided. There is a fundamental distinction between us. After all, that distinction is that they capitulated before the nightmare spell, while I never did. From the days I spent on the Forgotten Shore until today, my resolve to defeat it has never wavered. I have always endeavored to support and inspire others to fight valiantly against it, as well. She gestured to the champions of the human domain gathered in the hall. Look around you, dream. Every single person here is someone who has overcome their fear and raised their sword in defiance of the world that seeks to destroy them. There are more still who fought courageously, but perished in the fight. Their deaths are a cause for sorrow, but they have never been meaningless, because there is no purpose nobler or more glorious. Hearing her words, the champions of the human domain straightened. Some seemed proud to hear her praise, others looked mournful, remembering the friends they had lost on the path of ascension. Nephis smiled faintly. It was so on the Forgotten Shore, as well. Yes, more than 1,000 sleepers existed in the Dark City, once routing slowly as they were being ground to dust by the Dream Realm. They had no hope and no future, quietly awaiting their meaningless ends. But yes, indeed, I was not their savior. I was merely the person who showed them a way to save themselves, or die proudly with a sword in their hands, instead of dying senselessly on their knees. In the corridor beyond the hall, Cassie suddenly flinched and paled. Sonny, who was busy with his own thoughts, glanced at her and raised an eyebrow. "What is the matter?" Cassie shook her head. "It's nothing. Just ... Nephis wants me to join her inside." She remained motionless for a moment, then raised a hand and put it on the door handle. Her hand trembled a little. Sonny studied Cassie somberly. It was peculiar to see her in such a state, but he belatedly understood the reason. By entering the hole, Cassie would be facing Asterion for the first time since he brutalized her during the ambush. Her mind was immensely strong, but the body had a way of remembering trauma. Sonny wanted to say something, but held himself back. Cassie had her pride, as well. She did not need his pity, only his support. Exhaling slowly, Cassie opened the door and entered the hall. She walked toward Neph's chair with confident steps and stopped behind it. Nephis did not turn around. Instead, she glanced at Asterion and continued calmly. "That said, those who did survive by following me to the Crimson Spire, the valiant men and women, whom you besmirched by calling them sacrificial lambs, still follow me to this day. The Firekeepers are here. The members of my cohort are here, as well. Song of the Fallen, Nightingale, Raised by Wolver, Soul Reaper Jet." Her gaze turned cold. "A member of my cohort has never died. They're all still alive, serving humanity as some of its most fearsome warriors. That is a 100% survival rate in that regard. ... What do you have to say for yourself? How many members of your own cohort still live?" Neph's expression followed her gaze. Her even voice resounded in the vast hall, spreading far and wide even though she was not speaking that loudly. "Smile of heaven, broken sword, iron heart, Raven's. Everyone who has ever relied on you as a comrade is dead. So do you really want to lecture me about results?" Asterion grinned, and at that moment, Sonny finally realized what his plan was. His eyes widened a little. "That bastard